In France, it's Bastille Day, of course. The whole place has gone mad. It takes a special man to search out a bit of peace and quiet. Here's Phil Liggett.
Richard, yes, we're still on the Tour de France, but we're going to have a couple of hours off on the beach enjoying the French on Bastille Day and the flamingos of the Camargue and have a little rest. The actual race itself doesn't start down in Montpellier until midday today, and that'll give the riders a chance to recover from what happened yesterday. Look at this, the headlines this morning. Cuts and bruises in L'Equipe this morning because all the leaders of the Tour saw the other face of the race, and you know the great dangers that always exist every day. Because in fact, men like Ternisseur on the floor had stitches in his head. Eric Bowie, the best Frenchman last year, now has a plate to protect his broken wrist. Also a man complaining of a possible broken wrist is Zimmerman. He says he may not even start this morning. And our own Robert Miller too. He was injured. They flew in a chiropractor last night from Paris to have a look at a damaged neck. But as far as we know, Robert is A-OK. So the Tour goes on today. It is Bastille Day. You'd expect a Frenchman to win the stage today. The other riders, of course, they will think differently. This is a great Tour de France. We're going to have a great day, Richard, and if we're not there at the finish, don't worry, start without us.
Well, it's all right for Sam, isn't it? And unless I'm mistaken, that's the third day in a row we've seen those red shorts. Unless he gets them laundered soon, I think they're going to be in Paris before he is. Right, let's check the overall classification. No change. It's still Laurent Fignon, fittingly, on a day that the whole of France is celebrating, from Greg LeMond. Then it's Charlie Motte and Delgado. Andy Hampsten, 5 minutes and 18 seconds back, and looking forward to clawing some of that back in the mountains. Sixth is La Jarretta. The stage today, 13, takes the riders the 177 kilometres, 110 miles from Montpellier to Marseille. It's flat and fast again, and let's hope that Sean Kelly, perhaps, can find the legs for a win. Let's join the action. Here's Paul Sherwin and Phil Liggett.
Another scorching hot day then on July the 14th, the 13th stage between Montpellier and Marseille, and the field in good humour. Thierry Marie giving us all a song on the trumpet, while the riders have their own type of celebration. It wasn't a great celebration, though, after around 20 kilometres this morning, because at Lunel, the race was stopped yet again by a demonstration, and the riders were held here for almost 3 minutes. And the yellow jersey of Laurent Fignon in a spot of bother had to make an early change of bicycles. It wasn't a serious problem, because for the first 2 hours of the race this morning, the field was certainly in no hurry. But they were the first catch sprint, and it was the green jersey of Sean Kelly who gets the points, increasing his overall lead in both the red jersey competition and the green jersey competition. He really is having a marvellous Tour de France. And as we rejoin the race live, this is an amazing situation developing. We're still approximately 70 kilometres from the finish, and the yellow jersey of Laurent Fignon and Charlie Motte have attacked the field. I've never seen this on a flat of France before, but Motte is the man who started the attack, and it is in fact Fignon who's marked him immediately, and the field, which is split up already anyway under the impetus of an attack at the feeding station, appears to have allowed the two most dangerous Frenchmen in the race to escape. And I can't understand this move by Fignon, Paul.
Well, really, the only reason they're trying to do it is possibly to try and get this group away, because the bunch here is split. But it's really a stupid thing to do, is they're discussing with each other what's going on at the moment, because nearly every favourite is present in that group behind. There's nobody of any note missing. Possibly Indurain. I didn't catch Indurain's number, but I missed one of the two of the numbers. The only reason they can be doing this is to try and pull this front group away.
Well, Motte is expectedly receiving no help at all from Fignon, but they're going away from the group at the moment, and this is really quite amazing. And Fignon has gone to the front now. He's realised the gap is opening, and this is the leading group. This is the chasing group. There's Ron Kiefel just going down the back of our picture there. As far as we know, this big group formed just after the feed at 93 kilometres. Well, this is Charlie Motte, and there is Laurent Fignon, and these two riders have surprisingly launched an amazing attack here as they're running virtually alongside the Mediterranean, heading towards Marseille. It is absolutely boiling. The temperature as high as it's been since the Tour began, and Charlie Motte was the rider who rather cheekily launched the attack, and Laurent Fignon has picked up his wheel, and when the gap opened, he started now to work with Charlie Motte, and Pedro Delgado and Greg LeMond really would not have expected such a cheeky move. Reaction coming from Chateau Dax. 5 riders, by the way, didn't start the Tour as we expected this morning. Eric Bowyer did not begin the race. Josh Hykes also crashed yesterday. He's out. He's the rider you remember won that special prize at the 1,789th kilometre a couple of days ago. Denis Roux, the rider we saw lying in the road in that big pile-up about 60 kilometres out from the finish yesterday, he also didn't start this morning, and neither did the man involved in that crash, Francesco Roscignoli from Stephen Roche's Fagor team. The other retirement was Alberto Volpi from the Chateau Dax, making 5 riders not taking the start this morning.
Well, it's amazing here, Phil, because there's another of the leaders going away there. That's Bugno, who's just got rid of Jusado from the BH team.
Well, this Tour de France is not going to lie down, even on the flat roads that link the Pyrenees with the Alps. This is Bugno going clear here from Chateau Dax. He's had a great Tour de France. He won the stage last year. He's sitting up now and taking a look over his shoulder. But these two are waiting for nobody at all. They've still got somewhere in the region of 70 kilometres to go to the finish. It's an awful long way, which could either work for them or against them.
Well, it is strange, Phil. It's a long way to go. But Fignon is obviously very worried about the form that Delgado showed in the last few mountain stages. And I find it really unbelievable to accept that Fignon has decided to have an attack on a stage like this, especially by the fact that, if I'm correct in assuming, I've got some numbers in the headphones at the moment, there are 5 riders from the PDM team in the back group at the moment, so they should be really chasing these 2 riders.
Well, maybe they, like everybody else, will be a little bit stunned by this attack. They may even be saying to themselves, Fignon's absolutely mad, it's total suicide, and let him fry himself out in the sun. Well, the answer will come as the next hour or so unfolds, because Fignon has committed himself to go for it. He's checking over his shoulders here to see what's going on. Motte prepared to work with him. Motte's never won the Tour de France, but he's led it a couple of years ago, and he's heading down to his home in the Alps as well. Fignon, of course, has won the Tour de France twice, and this year he's made it quite plain to everybody he wants to do the double. He's already won the Tour of Italy, and he'd like now to win the Tour de France.
But for the moment, I've just got some more information coming over on Radio Tour. 14 seconds is the gap that Fignon and Motte have got on that chasing group of about 20-25 riders, and there's a second group behind after the split at 1 minute and 4 seconds. So it really is quite a devastating thing that's going on here at the moment. Just caught a sight there of Stephen Rook, so he's in the group there. There is, looks like Raul Alcala, number 12 on the right-hand side there. I can't understand why Motte and Fignon are doing such a thing, because they're really not making up much of a gap at all. 14 seconds, they're only just in front of this group.
Well, mad or not, who cares? Because this is rather an interesting move, and thank you, Fignon, for doing it, because it's now thrown the cat among the pigeons. The Tour de France again going wide open. 2 Frenchmen in the lead on Bastille Day. At the moment, it's all going right for the leader of the Tour de France. Come back after the break.
Race. They surprised everybody with an almost suicidal break about 85 kilometres from home. And what we need to know now is, are they still away, Phil?
Well, here are the 2 leaders now as they come up towards the top of the Côte d'Orove. And this has been a hard and bitter chase by the riders behind, but they have them at last in their sight. It's gone on now for almost 50 kilometres, and the yellow jersey and Charlie Motte are, I think, about to surrender to the chase that's been put up largely by Greg LeMond and Pedro Delgado and Andy Hampsten. They're cheered over the top of the climb, and there they are, being led by Gert Ternisser, the king of the mountains at the moment. The Robert Miller group, by the way, is still behind. They're still fighting to come back into this race, and there are 10 of the riders in the top 20 places overall in that group with Miller. But there we are. This has been one of the memorable attacks of this year's Tour de France, and the yellow jersey is going to have to surrender now. But Greg LeMond and Pedro Delgado must have had the fright of their lives.
But what a day it's been, because not only have they put on a show of force, but they've absolutely exploded the race, because behind the group that was 25 riders at the bottom of that last climb is now only 12 riders. We've got Greg LeMond there having a quick word with Ternisser. I'm not sure what he's going to be saying, but it really is amazing what's gone on here as these riders have come back to Fignon Motte.
Well, Lamont put his arm round Turnisher there, and I'm sure he'd say thanks for your help, because the PDMs had as much to lose as did Greg LeMond, and he had no teammates, Greg, in this breakaway in the end, because they were all dropped in the speed of the chase to pick up the yellow jersey. Now, what's LeMond doing now? Don't tell me he's going to have a little attack. I don't think he is. Well, now what remains to be seen, if they slow down, will they slow down long enough to allow Miller's group to come back on? Well, this is the sort of attack we'd expect when all the leaders come back together. Two of the little men having a dig. Jean-Claude Collotti at the back of the two of them. The other one is Vincent Barteau, the teammate of Laurent Fignon, while Collotti is the teammate of Charlie Motte. Their job done in blocking at the back, and it wasn't very successful at the end of the day. They're now having to go and see if they can take the day's honours. And these are the two riders. You see those. So Barteau then, carrying the colours of France today on Bastille Day, down to the old port of Marseille. And an enormous cheer goes up from the crowd. A Frenchman in the lead. They've waited in lovely sunshine to see him come through. He hears the bell because he has one lap to go. And listen to that. That's the cheer of France today on Bastille Day. The French have tried to win it in every way possible. The yellow jersey himself has had a go. So has Charlie Motte. And this is Jean-Claude Collotti, who was left by Barteau, still hanging on.
Yeah, he's still hanging on. He couldn't keep up with Barteau as they went up that last climb. He really was suffering, and now he's suffering to hang on for second place here, because not very far behind him, coming round that top corner, we'll see the rest of the field. There's Collotti comes through the finishing line. It's a pursuit, it's a man against man, but it's a long way to go. The way Barteau's going at the moment, I think he's going to hold on to this.
Well, he made the move that was to be expected when the big boys had stopped annoying one another. He went out front. He knew they wouldn't chase him because they were watching each other too closely. He got the gap. Collotti read it right. We didn't have the legs to carry it through. But Collotti goes through in second place. We go back up to the leader. Look at the crowd in the streets of Marseille today. It's rather like closing down Oxford Street and Regent Street and making way for the Tour de France, because the whole of Marseille has come to a standstill. Here's the field, which has swelled a little bit. We'd like confirmation, in fact, that Robert Miller's got back. We're not sure at all he has, for some strange reason. Radio Tour has stopped telling us whatever happened to the second half of the Tour de France today. But we know that one rider came back into this group, Indurain, and it would be nice to think that Miller got up as well. We're looking to everybody. He's telling everybody, I've done it, I've won, I'm back. 1984 is a long time ago now. And he's come back to the System U team, to the team of Cyril Guimard, with whom he led the Tour in 84, and he's also found his winning ways again. Vincent Barteau then wins for France today, and he loves every moment of it now. Tremendous cheer going up, 4 hours, 17 minutes for the ride, as Vincent Barteau crosses the finishing line. He's promised to do something this Tour. He certainly has good form. As we now look down, it looks to me as though, in fact, the group coming through here is a group that's behind the race, and, in fact, one lap behind the field as they go on to complete their next circuit. This is the man who's really in second place today, Marshal Guéon, so we must assume that Pedersen has been swept up. So too is poor old Collotti, as Marshal Guéon is now in second place, putting the French still... Oh, no, there's Collotti. They've gone back to Collotti taking second place on the line. Jean-Claude Collotti hung on to second place. So did Pedersen also stay out there, or will we see Guéon make it 1, 2, 3 for the French today? Here he comes up towards the line, and there's a little bit of a sprint. It might be Guéon who's going to take him on the line. As Guéon comes by, but in fact Guéon is in third place. That's not Pedersen on the left. Guéon takes third place, a minute 16 down. As some riders go on towards the end, Bauer comes over in fourth spot, and a big rush for the line. And Kelly was tipped there to the line in the sprint finish. And the rider who gets the bunch sprint was Etienne de Wilde. And as the field go over the line of freewheel to a halt, Robert Miller did get back to that bunch, and that was some chase.
So a Frenchman got it, not Fignon or Charlie Motti. That's in fact the 1 to 6 tonight. Barteau, Colotti, Gaillon, Bauer, De Wilde led the bunch across. Sean Kelly was 6th. That break by Fignon and Motti will be the headlines tomorrow, and it could very well cost Fignon the race, depending on how much it took out of him. It certainly made no change at all to the overall classification. That's the same. Fignon, Le Monde, Motte, Delgado and Hamston, those are still the major players. We're back tomorrow at 6